Hi guys, welcome back to Algebra Online. Today we are going to be multiplying polynomials. More specifically, we're going to be multiplying a binomial times a binomial. We're going to be using the FOIL method. Let's start with our opener. Our opener is a simplifying with exponents. And so right away I want to see if I have any like the bases. So this base x here and this base x here. So I do have same base, so therefore I add the exponents. So I have -4 plus 3, which gives me x to the -1 power. So we know when we write our fraction, the x will go down below because we cannot leave our answer as simplified with a negative exponent. All right, so in our numerator, I have a 2, perfect, and then I have y to the third, and that is your final answer. All right, I'd like to give yourself, or I'd like you to give yourself a nice, beautiful title. And let's just start off with multiplying a monomial, right? A monomial with just one term times a binomial, which is 2 terms. And I'm hoping that you are thinking about a word that is distribute, right? We distribute the x, we distribute the 2, we distribute the 2x, and we distribute that 3y. And so let's go ahead and distribute the first one together. And so I have x times 2x is 2x squared. And then I have x times y, which is just plus an x times y. So we'll just leave it xy. Let's go ahead and do the next example. So I have a 2 times a 3x, which is 6x, and then a 2 times a plus 5 is a plus 10. Sounds good. So let's do the other 2. So I have 2x times x is 2x squared, and then 2x times 5 is a 10x. And the last example, 3y times 4x. Yep, we can definitely multiply them. 4 times 3 is 12, and we have an xy. And then the last is 3y times 3, which is a plus 9y. So because multiplication is commutative, you know that we can write these two in a different order if you wanted to. So let's say you wrote this down as 12yx instead of xy, totally okay, right? That order does not matter at all. All right, so now we're going to look at the FOIL method. Now, FOIL's totally old school, and I love it. I love it so much. And FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. So I want you to take some time and write this down really pretty. Give yourself a nice title. We have a binomial, 2 terms. That's multiplying a binomial, 2 terms. And when that happens, we have an option that we can use the FOIL method. Now the first means the first in the parentheses, the first term in the parentheses. So a 3x and a 5x is our first terms. The outers are the terms on the outside. So 3x and a -1, outside. The inners are the 2 on the inside. See that? Inner, outer. So the inner is going to be the 3 times the 5x. And then the last are the last terms in the parentheses. So this is the last in this parenthesis, and this one's the last in this parenthesis. So let's go ahead and multiply. So we're going to do the first times the first for our f, for our FOIL. And so 3x times 5x is going to give us 15x squared. Good. I'm going to change my color. Let's go red, and let's go ahead and do the outers. So this is going to be the 3x times the -1, and that is going to give us a -3x. I'm going to change my color again, and let's go ahead and do the inners. So this would be the 3 times the 5x, and that is a plus 15x. And then I'm going to change it one last time for the last, and the last is the 3 times the -1. And so that would give us a -3. Now, sometimes I have heard students or other colleagues that will say, well, it's also called double distribute. So like you take this 3, you take the 3x and distribute it to both, then you take this 3 and distribute it to both. And so that's the exact same thing of what FOIL does, which is kind of like what we did on the last slide. All right, so with our FOIL, you're going to have those 4 terms, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And with those 4 terms, we want to combine any terms that are like. And so our like terms are the 2 that are in the middle, right? A negative 3x and a plus 15x. Those are our like terms. So our final answer is going to give us 15x squared. I have a negative 3x plus 15x, and that is a positive 12x, and then negative 3. And this is a trinomial because we have 3 terms. Very cool. All right, welcome to FOIL. It's so much fun. All right, let's try it again. I'd like you to write this problem down on your own right now. And then you don't necessarily have to write this again. I just have it on every single slide. But this would be the next example of FOIL. So once you have that written down, let's go ahead and multiply these 2 binomials. So I'm going to do first, so that would be 4. I was about to do an x. Does anybody do that? Like when the variables change, it's no longer an x, it's n, and then you write it. I do that all the time. N, Sasha. Okay, so it would be 4n squared. Then let's go ahead and multiply the outers, the 4n times the negative 3, so that's negative 12n. And then we have our inners, so that's negative 7 times n, so negative 7n. And then the last is a negative 7 times a negative 3, and that would be a positive 21. Now that we have multiplied, we're just going to look to see for our final answer if we can combine any like terms, and our 2 middles can combine. So our final answer is 4n squared minus 19n plus 21. I owe you 12, I owe you 7, I owe you 19. Perfect. All right, are you ready to try one on your own? Okay, so let's go ahead. Here it is. I'd like you to pause this video. I'd like you to try this one on your own. And don't write X because it's P, because I probably will do it. All right. Okay, how'd you do? Let's see. So first times first is going to give you an 8p squared. The outers is a p times a 7, so plus 7p. Our inners is a 1 times 8p, so plus 8p. And then the last is 1 times 7, which is a plus 7. And then did you combine your like terms, your 2 p's? And you should have got 8p squared plus 15p plus 7. All right, so I think that you're ready for just the next step that's just a tad bit more difficult. I believe in you. I know you got this. Here is another example, so please pause my video, or this video right now. Pause it. Write this down. And let's talk about it. Do you notice that I have 2 variables? Right. I mean, that's really good. I want you to take some time and kind of think about what is different about this problem, what makes it just a little bit more difficult, is we did add another variable. And so just be mindful of that. It's always good to kind of take a look at it and see what's a little bit different, but we're still going to follow FOIL, right? So we have first times first, and 8 times 3 is going to give us 24x squared. And then we have the outer, so I'm going to change my color, and I have the 8x times the 2y, so that is going to give me a plus 16xy. Good. Then I'm going to look at the inners, which is a negative 7y times 3y, so that's a negative 21xy. And I'm going to write it xy because the 16xy, the other term, I also wrote it that way. And sometimes when I notice if students write yx, then they forget that these 2 are also like terms. So if you wrote it xy to begin with, it's good practice to stick with it. Okay, and then I have negative 7. Oh, that's a highlight. Sorry, guys. Negative 7 times 2, which is a negative 14, and that would give us y squared, right? Y times y is y squared. All right, so now we're going to combine our like terms, and it's still the 2 that's in the middle, right? Our 2 terms that are in the middle. And so now I have 24x. Oh, that was ugly. 1 second. That is not a cute x. X squared, and this is going to be minus 5 because you have a negative 21 plus 16 is a minus 5xy. And then I'm going to subtract 14y squared. Final answer. All right, still follows that same pattern, but you just have an additional variable there. Okay, so let's go back to just one variable, but let's make it a little bit difficult with changing our exponent. So now we're going to have an exponent that is higher than 1. So go ahead and write this one down. This one will be our last one that we do together. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. So first times first, and this is going to be 12x to the 4th power, right? You have 3 and you have 1. So we know that we have 4 total x's when we multiply, and then we can multiply the 4 times the 3. All right, so that's the first. Now for FOIL, outer, so let's do the outers. So this is 4x to the 3rd minus times negative 1, which is going to give us a negative 4x to the 3rd. Then let's go ahead and take care of our inners. 2 times 3x is a plus 6x. And then we have our last terms. 2 times negative 1 is a negative 2. All right, so what do you notice with our multiplied answer here? Well, we don't have any like terms. Do you see that? This one is x to the 4th, this one's x to the 3rd, this one's just an x, this is just a constant, negative 2. We don't have any terms to combine. And so when that happens, this is your final answer. Cool. All right, so I have these 3 for you. So I would love for you to pause this video right now. I want you to write these 3 down. I want you to try these out on your own, and then I want you to press play when you are ready and you've completed them, or you're stuck and you still don't know like where to go. So go ahead and please do that now. All right, so let's take a look at the first example. This one is just like the very first examples that were in the video for today, and we're just going to just simply distribute that 7y to both terms. This is a monomial times a binomial. So I'm going to have 70xy, and I just always write xy, and if you wrote yx, totally cool. Plus, this is going to be 77y squared. Final answer, you're done. The next example is we're going to use FOIL. So we're going to do the firsts. So this is going to give us 4x squared times the outers, and that is a negative 2x. Then we have the inners, so 6 times 4, negative 24x. And then the last is the negative 6 times negative 2, which is a plus 12. And we do have like terms in this example. It is the 2 that are in the middle. So we have 4x squared minus 26x plus 12. Final answer. All right, last example of today and today's lesson is we're going to go ahead and do first times first, and that is going to give us 15x to the 6th power. Remember, same base, we add exponents. So then next are the outers, so 5x to the 4th times 7. So 5 times 7 is going to give us 35, so we have plus 35, and it's x to the 4th. Then we're going to do the inners, so this is going to give us negative 6x squared. And then for the last, negative 2 times 7 is a negative 14. And we don't have any like terms at all because all of our exponents are different, right? This one is to the 6th power, this one's to the 4th power, this is to the 2nd power, this doesn't even have that power, or the power of 1, the 14, but we don't have a variable. So that's it. That is your final answer. I'm going to kind of like circle it right there or put a box over it, and we are done. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I will see you next time. Bye.